Hello and welcome to the last stage of the Giro di Romagna, a brand new stage race that has been taking place in northern Italy, and this is the last of the four stages. So far have been very exciting for all the cyclist fans all around the world for under 23 races. Is this a new stage race that has been organized by the Extra Giro company and has been very exciting so far, with 3 stages already gone, and this is the last one from Ravenna to Ravenna, a stage that will be probably a very good chance for the fastest riders in the bunch to compete for the win. So far we set 3 amazing stages. The first one, who saw the win of Francesco Romano from Velo Racing Palazzago. It was the race with departure from Riccione and the finish on Granada. The second and the third one indeed saw the fantastic actions of Juan Ayuso from Team Colpac Ballan, who took the 2 win and the leader of the general classification. As you can see, the young first year on the under 23 category Spanish rider has been very good in the first part of the season. He took the win of the Trofeo Piva and the Giro del Belvedere, and now he is one of the best riders in the peloton for very hard races like this one. He already has a contract with the UAE team Emirates, so we're definitely going to hear a lot from these riders in the future. But this image that we're seeing now are from this morning in Ravenna, where the organization organized the presentation of the team, the different teams participating to this very important race. But let's go and see the stage that we're going to facing today, but more important, we're going to see the teams that are participating in this race. The United States national team opens with the first team on the list, and then we have the Velo Club Mendrisio from Switzerland, the Zappi cycling team from the UK, and then a lot of very good Italian team with in Emilia Romagna, Andrea Cattoli Beltrami, PSA Colli, and then we have the Carlo Tech Bio Training, the cycling team Friuli, the Italian national team, the Gallina Ecotech Colosio, the Viris di Vigevano, in Team Colpac Ballan, Iseo Rime Carnovali, D'Amico Tools, Overall Colli, Cycling Team, Land Service, Team Malmantile, Petroli Firenze, Opla, Don Camillo, Futura Team Rosini, Mastro Marco Sensi Nibali, General Store SBG Fratelli Curia, Sissio Team, la Northwave Cytec Olmo, Pedale Scaligero Rostese, MGK Vis, Zalf, Euromobil Desire Fiat, Work Service Group, Dynatech Vega, Aran Cucine, Gragnano Sporting Club, BS Elvedi, Unione Ciclistica Trevigiani Campana Imballaggi, Velo Racing Palazzago, Trentino Cycling Team Under 23. These are the teams that are participating in this race, and it's so far it's been a spectacular 3 days with Juan Ayuso, you saw in the middle, the riders from Spain with the leader jersey. Second in the general classification, we have riders from the UK that has been so far very good. Paul Double from MG KVIS VPM is second with a gap of, it's not a very big gap, 21 seconds, but Juan Ayuso, especially yesterday, proved to be the stronger riders when the road is uphill. Today though, it's a quite flat stage. Let's go to discover the last stage of the Giro di Romagna. It's the longest stage of all. It's suitable for a final sprint from Ravenna. We will cross the city of Alfonsine, Lugo di Romagna, Massa Lombarda, then for a few kilometers we will enter the province of Bologna to cross Mordano, the organizing center of the Giro, and after a couple of kilometers we will return to the province of Ravenna to cross Castel Bolognese, then Riolo Terme, and tackle the first ascent to Cima Calvane upon reaching the mountain Grand Prix, descending to Brisighella, and then reach the foot of the short but quite steep climb of Monte Carlo, and from the top there will be 64 kilometers left on the arrival, and it will be completely flat. That's why I told you guys it will be a race for the sprinters. Juan Ayuso have to preserve the 21 seconds gap on Paul Double. He could do that. He knows he can. It's quite an easy stage for him. Just need to be careful not to fall. He did fall yesterday, but his teammates were very good in controlling the situation and then bring him back to the top. And then he did a very, very good job in the final climb, where he was able to put some extra gap between him and all the other riders. This image yet are still from the departure of today, and this we're live from Ravenna, waiting to see live the last kilometers of this exciting last stage of the Giro di Romagna. It's the same organization that will organize the Giro Under 23, which is probably the most important race for Under 23 riders in the world. It will take place in June, starting on the 3rd, and it will be very exciting with all the main stage and with all the main riders from all over the world from that competing for the title that last year was on the British riders Tom Pidcock. And we saw what Tom Pidcock is doing right now in the professional world and in the World Tour with Ineos Grenadier, and definitely like the Giro Under 23 is the race to watch. Just a few seconds until we're gonna go live with the bunch that is still all together. These are news that we are getting from the Radio Corsa. The peloton is together, and we are going fast towards the finish line of the last stage of Giro di Romagna. Few more minutes, and we will have the possibility to see live the last kilometers of this very exciting race. Well, I told you that we start with the first race, with the first stage, with the victory of Francesco Romano from Velo Racing Palazzago. On the second day, it was Juan Ayuso who was first, and Francesco Romano was pretty good in controlling the situation. Second, Pietro Bon third, and Paul Double fourth. But yesterday, on the finish line towards San Leo, Juan Ayuso was able to get the leadership of the general classification, winning the stage. Second win in a row for the Spanish riders from Team Colpac Ballan. Paul Double was second, and is also nice second in the general classification with a gap of 21 seconds to Juan Ayuso. Third is now the former leader, Francesco Romano from Velo Racing Palazzago. But here we are live with the image. The Team Colpac Ballan is controlling the situation. They know that Juan Ayuso is strong and ready to win this not win the stage though, but win the general classification. We see the bunches all together, Gruppo Compatto, for this last stage. Doing the speed now is Alessio Martinelli, second position for Francesco Cali, both from Team Colpac Ballan, and we see now the group is all together and we're pedaling towards the final kilometers. High speed from the beginning this morning. The average speed from the first hour was over 50 kilometers. So there's a lot of tensions in the group, and many riders try to catch the breakaway, but the Team Colpac Ballan was very good controlling the situation. Team Colpac Ballan that today won another race in Rome, the Gran Premio della Liberazione, with Michele Gazzoli, the former junior European champion, was very good sprinting in the amazing scenery of Rome city center and winning this important stage, this important race. But now, as you see, Martinelli leading the group, second position for Cali. Cali is another young rider from Team Colpac Ballan. He's also, like Juan Ayuso, at the first year of under 23 category, and has been very good working for the team, supporting Ayuso and all the other riders in this very strong team from Bergamo. Gregorio Butteroni is now leading the group, another young rider from Mastro Marco Sensi Nibali. He is a rider from Tuscany and he's been leading the group now for a few meters. Also checking out the back of the group. I told you that this is the last stage of the Giro di Romagna. Very, very brand new stage race organized by the same organization of the Giro under 23. If you love cycling, if you love under 23 cycling, you need to watch the Giro under 23 and you need to be there. It will be in June and it will be very, very exciting. Last year, you all remember Pitcock taking the Maglia Rosa. Gregorio Butteroni is still leading the group. You will see also the Zappi team around the 7th or 8th position, and then around the 10th position we see the jersey of Juan Ayuso that has been absolutely fantastic in this first part of the season. He won the Trofeo Piva in Giro del Belvedere. First rider in 20 years was able to win those 2 races in a row. The last one was Jaroslav Popovic in 2001. Now Butteroni is getting pretty fast, and you see also riders from Zalf Euromobil Desiree Fior at the top. We see now with the number 139, and it's Riccardo Verza that is now leading the group and is getting a little bit of a gap when we are now 19 kilometers to go. 19 kilometers to go from Verza, that is now attacking. Is 139 the number of the guy which is leading the group? Riccardo Verza from Zalf Euromobil Desiree Fior. The riders from Verona is now attacking, while in the back, as you can see, while the speed gets higher and higher, many more riders are now holding to be able to keep the pace of the group. Number 40 then for a guy from cycling team Friuli is Edoardo Sandri. Don't forget that we have at the beginning of this race, we also in the departure list we have the national team of Italy with Alessio Acco, the former Italian Junior Championship, Andrea Montoli, Gianmarco Garofoli, Davide Piganzoli and Lorenzo Germani. Part of this team. Attacking now, many riders are trying to get away. The control from Team Kolpak Balan has been a little bit less effective in the last kilometers, but the race towards the final is very, very flat. Anzaloni is now leading the group with other riders from Zalf Euromobil Desiree Fior, with Verza still in the position there. Anzaloni is now getting a little bit of gap. 18 kilometers to go. It will be a fast final for this race. We are approaching the final kilometers. The end will be in Ravenna, and this Giro is for Dante Alighieri. In fact, Ravenna is the place where Dante Alighieri, the famous poet who wrote the Divine Comedy, died and is buried in. He was from Tuscany, but he spent the last year of his life in Ravenna, and his name is tied with the city. And of course, this Giro wants to remember his important heritage. Number 42 for Andrea Montoli. He also won an Italian Junior Championship last year. Very, very high level of riders in this Giro di Romagna for Dante Alighieri. 17 kilometers to the finish line of this last stage. And so, as you can see now, the speed has dropped a little bit. Many riders are looking behind to see where the teammates are, and there might be new attacks. There will be new attacks because many riders are trying to avoid a sprint, but we saw that the team called Balan controlled the race until now. After all the climbs they did, now they're ready to sit and relax and watch just if Juan Ayuso is ready for winning the general classification. Many attacks now. There's a rider who got a little gap in front of the group. Let's go to check. This rider here is still Emanuele Anzaloni, that is now pushing hard in the first position. Anzaloni, it's in the local team of in Emilia Romagna, and he's now attacking. Few seconds for him, but he's pushing hard. He's pushing hard in this last 16 kilometers to the finish line of Ravenna. Anzaloni is now, you see, flat out attacking. It won't be easy by himself. 10 seconds is his gap from the group. It won't be easy for him, but he's trying his best to get more gap. It will be better for him to have another riders on the top, but so far he's alone and he's not saving energy. He's pushing very hard. While we go back to the last part of the group, you see a little bit more relaxed situation here. The gap is now only 7 seconds for Anzaloni, but the group is chasing hard. They don't want to let a guy get an important gap. Now there is a little bit of other attacks. There are other attacks in the group. Anzaloni still pushing hard. Other people trying to get away. You see the jersey of cycling team Friuli in the first position of the group. And we are going towards the finish. We're going to the finish line. We're approaching the finish line. 15 kilometers to go. And considering the speed that these riders are now going, it won't take long for them to reach the finish line in Ravenna, where these images are coming from. Of course, we don't have many audience at the finish line due to COVID regulations, but all the people working for the organization have been checked with temperature every single day. The health of the riders is, of course, a priority for the organization team. We still see Anzaloni with 40 meters gap between him and the group. He's still pushing, but now you see other riders are getting closer to him. He's trying also to use our motorbike as a help. It's not easy for Anzaloni. Only 4 seconds for the guy from in Emilia Romagna, and now is the peloton is all together. Work Service is the team in the front, taking this very moment, the leader of the group with Giacomo Garavaglia, which is leading the group, while in the back we see a different situation. Also other riders from MG, Kappavis and cycling team Friuli. It's a very high speed now, with a group of like 7-8 riders trying to get away now. There has been a little gap, and Ayuso is there. The leader of the general classification is ready for this attack. And as you can see, he's trying to get away with this group. What a fantastic first part of the year for Ayuso. And now we see Pietro Bon from cycling team Friuli, which is now leading the group. Other riders are trying to get on his wheel, but Ayuso, this is very, very good for the riders from Team Kolpak Balan, which is in this first group chasing Pietro Bon. And this is the proof, if we need one more, that his condition is absolutely fantastic. You see maybe some wins because the group has been cut in different parts. And in the front, with Pietro Bon, we have another riders. We haven't seen his number yet. Is 158, the number of Riccardo Ciucciarelli, BS Alvedi, that is now with Pietro Bon leading the action. But not far behind, there's this group with Juan Ayuso in third position. A fantastic action from the leader of the general classification, which is there. You see the jersey of Juan Ayuso is there in fifth position. Not only good when the race is going uphill, but also very, very careful in this stages like this one, where we thought it was going to be a sprint between the fastest riders in the group, but the wind is changing the situation and Juan Ayuso is ready. The rider from Team Kolpak is pushing hard. Third, fourth position from him. We'll see. We don't see the pool double should be also in this group. I haven't seen the British rider from MGKVs. And this could be a very important action. Let's see, it's not pool double this rider here. So the second in the general classification is not part in this group. It's not part of this group. We saw a jersey from Velo Racing Palazzago. Maybe it's Romano. Will be more precise to you guys very soon. Is Francesco Romano in this group? Is pool double is not. So it's an action that could change the general classification while we're only 11 kilometers to go. Juan Ayuso, always careful, always ready to attack. Even today, he's now talking to his teammates and his sport director, and as you can see, he's now leading this group. Very strong action from Ayuso. In this group, we also have Francesco Romano, which is the third in general classification. We don't have Paul Double, which is in the second group. The British rider was not expecting this attack, and he now has to chase. 144 is the number of Giacomo Garavaglia. They are working all together to get to the finish line. Last 10 kilometers, they're asking for cooperation. Romano is now leading the group. He has the chance of getting the second place in the general classification, and it could be a very good result for the riders of Velo Racing Palazzago. We will see if he will be able to get this, but we're certain that Juan Ayuso is definitely in this group and is extremely well positioned. He doesn't have any teammates though. This could be an important consideration. Federico Burchio also in this group, and Romano of course is pushing hard. He wants to put more seconds between this group and the main group because Paul Double is not here, and he sees the chance of getting the second place in the general classification. Let's see who is leading the group now. It seems to be riders from Team Kolpak Balan, but they have Ayuso in the front. As we said then, he doesn't have any teammates. This could be dangerous for him because Romano is not extremely far in the general classification. So 31 seconds is the gap between Romano and Ayuso. And Ayuso doesn't have any teammates in the front group. So maybe he doesn't feel as safe without any teammates, and he might be worried about an attack from Romano. But in the back, in the main group, they're getting faster now. Only 7 seconds between the riders that you see right now, with Lorenzo Galimberti, Viris Vigevano leading the group. Other jersey from Team Friuli in the second position. We don't see Paul Double then. He has a teammate in the front group, and now of course Romano is pushing hard. Francesco Romano is pushing hard in the front to get more seconds between this group and the main group. Juan Ayuso is in the back of this first group and is controlling the situation. He doesn't have any teammates, and this could be a problem for the strong riders from Team Kolpak Balan. Now, you saw him passing by this group And in the back, we go back with the main group, sprinting now to close the gap between them and the attackers. The breakaway still has 7 seconds on the main group. You see now the jersey of MEG Capavis that are pushing hard because they need to close this gap. They need to close this gap to save the second position of pole double. Otherwise, Francesco Romano could get in the second place of the general classification, and this of course will be a problem for the team. Beltrami TSAE also in second position. Other jersey from Zalf Euromobile Desiree still there. You see in the front the speed is still very high, and they still have a gap, a little bit less than 10 seconds for this. Well, now there has been changes in the breakaway. The 4 riders that now have a little bit more gap than the rest of the breakaway, while in the back the group is chasing. 3 riders are cached right now. We didn't see Ayuso yet, which is still in the breakaway, but not in the first part of the breakaway. It's a very exciting final towards the finish line in Ravenna, the last stage of Giro di Romagna. Juan Ayuso so far has been absolutely fantastic. He has been a real hero for the fan. He's been a real hero for his teammates. He was able to win 2 stages in a row, with stage number 2 and stage number 3, where he also got the leader jersey yesterday, finishing alone. More riders are trying to catch the breakaway, and it's been a situation now that, of course, it's not easy to read. See Romano with a few meters now on the second part of the group, and we're now ready for the final, while other riders in the back of the group are more relaxed, just waiting this to be over and just waiting for some relax after 4 days of very intense riding. Actually, like, some of the riders were also in the Strade Bianchi on Tuesday. The group is now all together with Ayuso. As you can see, him is around the 10th position of the group, and the cycling team Friuli, one of the best team in Italy. Last year they were the strongest team in the country, with Edoardo Sandri now pushing hard to keep the bunch all together. Other riders from Zalf Euromobile in the second and third position, while we're approaching the finish line, and we're approaching this sprint at this point. It was a race meant to be a sprint, and so far we will see a sprint, even though we had some attack around 10 kilometers to go, with very big names in the front. Juan Ayuso and Francesco Romano were both there. But now things are back to normal with cycling team Friuli. You also see team Colpac Ballan on the right hand side of your screen. You see on the left hand side of your screen, you see Palazzago Racing Team, the team of Romano, third in the general classification. You can also see jersey from the US national team, while Ayuso is still around the 15th position of the group. Now we're marching very, very fast. You saw on the right hand side of your screen, the team Colpa is getting around his captain. 5 kilometers to go for this very exciting race, this very exciting last stage of the Giro di Romagna. Still Martinelli now leading the group. This rider had an accident a few weeks ago, but he's back on his bike and he's pushing hard in this part of the race. Juan Ayuso around the 4th, 7th position now. You see very carefully the riders are approaching this final part of the race. A little bit less than 5 kilometers to go, with Martinelli still leading the group. Alessio Martinelli. Juan Ayuso is around the 5th position of the group. He's very happy with his teammates, doing the job, keeping the bunch all together. And we are now entering the city of Ravenna. Entering this final kilometers. 4 kilometers to go. And now Martinelli leave the space for the BS Alvedi. They're now leading the group. Ayuso is still there, and Martinelli, you saw that when he was done with the job, he went around, he went right there with all his teammates, still trying to help. Very good rider, Martinelli, and very, very exciting final today with a group that is marching all together. We saw some action later. We saw some action earlier with a group of like 10, 12 people trying to attack with the wind that was causing some problem. Francesco Cali now for Team Kolpak Balan is in first position, and Juan Ayuso is there. He's telling to a rider from work service to move because there's not much space and the stress is very high in this final part of the race. It's a battle for the win. It's a battle for the win of the stage, and it's a battle for the win of the general classification. Juan Ayuso wants to approach the last 3 kilometers safe. There will be, of course, neutralization of the time. That's why many Kolpak Balan riders are in the front. Now is the national team of the United States leading the group with 2 riders. 3 kilometers to go. It's a very exciting moment with also the jerseys of work service in the first position. We see other attacks in the front. Speed is very high. Now is Maltinti, the team from Empoli, leading the group, and the speed is high again. Number 96 is now leading the group. We're going very, very fast right now. 96 is Bruno Aslani now leading the group, and there is a fall. There was a lot of tension in the group, and of course has been contact. Let's see if there are any riders, important riders in the fall, in the crash. We saw a guy from MGKVs. It wasn't Paul Zabel. And now we're sprinting towards the finish. We're sprinting towards the end of the race. It will be a flat end, and it will be a group sprint. Now the Riccardo Luca is now leading the group. You see also jerseys from the Italian national team trying to speed up the pace. Another turn. We're entering the historic center of Ravenna. 2 kilometers to go with this rider that has been getting some space between him and the rest. Is Andrea Montoli. Is the former Italian Junior Championship, and he could do this. He has this 2 kilometers very, very quick. He can do this, and he can win this stage because it's a very good riders, and they let him some seconds now. He has a gap, and he's pushing hard. Andrea Montoli pushing very hard. He won the Italian National Championship last year in the province of Padua, and is now attacking towards the end of the 4th stage of the Giro di Romagna. Maximum effort for Montoli. The group is not far. 1.3 kilometers to go. The group will be all together again when we're approaching the last kilometers. The group is all together, and there's more attack in the front with Petroli Firenze. Now Opla Petroli Firenze attacking. Also jerseys from Team Kolpak Balan and from Work Service. Videa in the first position of the group. Speed is very high. Last kilometers. Last kilometer, last 800 meters now. We are approaching the finish. It's a very fast sprint, very fast race. The average speed has been very, very high. And here we are with the cameras from the finish line, ready to see this sprint, ready to see who is going to be the winner of the last stage of the Giro di Romagna. The sprint has been launched and is a long sprint. It's a long sprint that we see now with different jerseys trying to compete. And it's a very good sprint, and the winner it seems to be, oh, it's a very tight end. It's supposed to be Rochetta, Christian Rochetta, but it's a very tight end, very tight gap. We'll see if Rochetta was able to get that win. Rochetta from the general store SABG Fratelli Curia. It was a very tight end after a super fast race, super fast stage. But what we can see for sure now is the Juan Ayuso won the Giro di Romagna, the general classification of the Giro di Romagna. This is for sure the news. And here we go again with and that's Rochetta winning. And second should be number 88. And it's Gregorio Ferri. So Rochetta won and second place for Ferri, but the gap was very, very narrow. Still able to win this race, Christian Rochetta. Again, the sprint we see with Rochetta in the middle of the road. Ferri is still on his wheel, hasn't gone back yet, but this is the moment when Ferri trying to gain some space and gain some speed and trying to pass Rochetta, but the finish line is close, is very close, and Rochetta is still in the first position of the group. And the last sprint for Rochetta, who catched the win. Second place for Ferri. Opla, Petroli Firenze. Rochetta, of course, saw that coming and was ready to celebrate his victory. The victory for the general classification is for Juan Ayuso. Another important race goes to the young riders from Spain, from Team Colpac Ballan. And here we are again with the final sprint. Super slow-mo for this one, with Rochetta leading the group, Ferri trying to catch up. Nothing to do for the riders of Opla Petroli Firenze. Rochetta was too fast. He led the group from the last 100 meters, and then he was able to catch this very important win. Rochetta is first, Ferri is second, but most importantly, the race, the Giro di Romagna, goes to Juan Ayuso from Team Colpac Ballan. This is it. Thank you for watching this live streaming, and from Ravenna is goodbye, and see you again.